One Piece chapter 1154 was incredible. It was emotional, it was devastating, thematically so much is happening in this chapter. It was unbelievably exciting, so much lore that I can't even fully wrap my mind around yet, and an incredible reveal at the end. But first, a shout out to today's sponsor, Factor. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. Their team of gourmet chefs create each meal using only ingredients with integrity to help you feel your best all day long. I've been using Factor for a while now, and they've been a major hit in my home. Not only because I've never had a dud meal from them, their flavors are so bold, but also because of the convenience. I work for myself and I work at home, which means that I tend to just go for long periods of time. And when I'm in the groove of something, when I'm writing up notes for something or editing a video that's taking a lot of time, I have a tendency to just grab something and eat while I'm working. So something that's simple and yet still nutritious is a balance that isn't always easy for me to strike, and I sometimes fail, but Factor makes it a lot easier. Whether you're managing calories, maximizing your protein intake, or simply trying to eat more balanced, Factor has dietitian-approved meals that will help you meet your wellness goals. You can choose from 6 meal preferences, including keto, calorie smart, vegan, and veggie, and even round out your order with nutrient-rich smoothies, snacks, and energy shots to keep you satisfied all day long. And they have so many different flavors. The variety is incredible. When we got our most recent shipment in, my daughter was picking, she was like, save that one for me, I want that one. She's 5 and she's fighting with me over which Factor meals she gets to eat. So head over to factor75.com and use my code MurphyNapier50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next order. That's factor75.com using code MurphyNapier50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next order. Thank you, Factor, for sponsoring this video, and thank you to you for checking them out. This chapter starts off by bringing Big Mom back to the forefront of our attention when she went on her Hunger Pangs rampage and destroyed the entire village. It says that it's just by happenstance that, well, it doesn't say by happenstance, it said as it happened in that very same year. And then it talks about disaster after disaster, fires, gales, cold snaps, their crops were destroyed, they went into a famine, they were destitute, they were dying of hunger, they were going into civil wars, fighting each other. It was chaos. And it's interesting, I'm not sure if the implication here is that somehow Big Mom was responsible for all of that. I don't take it that way. I more so take it as a child did something, like we brought Big Mom back into the picture as a parallel of some of the other things that are happening in this chapter and in this arc as a whole. And this just so happened to fall into a time where there were a lot of other things happening as well. I am curious if Oda is going to build on this and create a lore in the mind of Elbaf around Big Mom that we'll explore later on, that she too is a cursed child because maybe one thing happened surrounding her, but then a bunch of other things happened and they were just attributed to her as just a part of Elbaf, you know, superstition lore, kind of like what they've done to Loki, or if this just is being introduced here because of the emphasis that Big Mom, or because of the parallels Big Mom has with what's going on with the children of Elbaf. Namely, abandoned by her parents because of a physical abnormality, raised by someone who did not love her, who, I mean, in Loki's case, it was someone who neglected and abused, at least verbally, him. In Big Mom's case, it was a secret child trafficker who she cannibalized, and then now she's locked in a child's mind and very traumatized from that. Either way, they did not receive the love that they should have from their parents because of their physical differences. They went on, for different reasons, to cause destruction to Elbaf. And the trauma that they received really shaped who they were and how they would then go on to harm others. But also, just more broadly, the adults in their lives failed them. And a lot of the destruction that we see, especially with Loki, obviously he's the emphasis in this chapter, the destruction that we see from him could have all been avoided if the adults just didn't fail so catastrophically. But regardless, they were thrown into some horrible, horrible famine. Loki's mom is the worst. Every bad thing that happens, she just blames the child that she hates. You see? It's because of the child. The kingdom is now under its curse because you didn't kill him like I told you to. She tried to kill her own child on day of birth, and then now huddles in her bed, this disgusting, vile creature that on the surface looked beautiful but is nothing but filth on the inside, wanted to kill her own child, and now huddles away in her bed screaming at other people, you should have killed him. Every bad thing that has happened from this day forward is on him. Loki's so large. He's so large and he is so strong that this little baby this happy baby is bursting through the door, busting it open while smiling, looking for his mother, looking for love, the most basic thing. And what he's met with is her screaming that he's looking at her, wanting to gouge his eyes out so that, I don't know, we don't have to look at them anymore. Prince Loki, you mustn't approach your mother's chamber. What an unbelievably depressing sentence. From day one of his birth, this is what he's known. That's it. This mother who has completely rejected her child, this mother who has completely rejected her own, I think is too shown on a larger scale in Elbaf as a whole. Let me unpack that a little bit because that sounds really, really harsh, but hear me out because I think it's intentional. I think that there's something that Oda's going for here. I could be wrong. Always that caveat there. But we see them in famine. We see them, crying over this mom who's crying over, I don't have any more bread to give you, to her child. It's terrible. It's horrible. And one of the giants is speculating, or is considering, what if we just go pillage another land? What if we go steal from the humans? We need food. We need it bad. Let's just steal it. Take from them, give to us. And the argument is, no, Elbaf pride would never allow us to do that. We will not take from other countries. That's not a part of our history. That's all made up nonsense. We will never do that. And then in the very next panel, we see them in civil war. We see them pillaging each other. We see exactly what they refuse to do to other nations, they'll do amongst themselves. Now, don't hear me wrong. Times of desperation will absolutely lead nations to do exactly this, to steal from your neighbor, to turn on each other. Absolutely the worst physical situations where you can't even feed your crying child anymore will lead you to some really desperate situations. But I think that there was a point in Oda drawing or paneling it so that they say, absolutely, we would never steal from another land. Okay, we're stealing from each other. I think there was a point to that, because I think that there's a concept that Oda is highlighting here. You're willing to make peace with other nations, but you won't put someone with mixed blood on the throne. When the Straw Hats enter into Elbaf, someone, I think it was Rayleigh maybe, said an insult. Anyway, the kids jumped on it. They were like, absolutely not. We don't believe in violence, including verbal violence. We'll never insult you. Like they really got intense about a verbal insult. But then Colin shows up on the scene and they hurl verbal insults and name calling on him as if it's nothing. It's interesting to me that Elbaf has embraced pacifism, but even in that, King Harold seemed to still not believe that he could advocate for his own wife. That Harold could bring in an age of new peace and of making agreements with other nations, yet they still forced on him the type of wife they wanted him to have. And even in her passing, he didn't go back to the woman that he loved, his first wife, his family that he chose. He still didn't go back to them. And while I want him to, like after Evil Lady died, I wanted him to go return to his first wife and raise both his sons under the same household and have a family. I gave you the son you asked for. I gave you an heir to the throne according to your approval. Now I go back, I return to the family that I've chosen. And this is how I'm raising both my boys. But truthfully, the pattern that Oda is showing here, I don't think they would have allowed that either. There seems to be an embracing of cohesion up to a certain point, but they'll quickly and easily turn out their own if the justification is there, which is that's very human nature. This happens certainly in the world, but also it's happened enough in the story that I'm just taking notice. That's all. I'm taking notice. Anyway, so it says, the country was plunged into chaos, and over time, the people grew sick within their hearts. Absolutely love that line. What a great way of describing what's happening right here as a man rushes into Harudin's house and says, your brother is, what is it? Your brother has put a curse on the land. He's trying to kill it. You're the brother, so you must be a sacrifice. What? Not even an explanation. There's not even, that I can think of, which my memory is bad, that I can think of. There's not even some sort of tradition that's already been set that they're referring back to with this line. This is just some obscene thing that this guy has come up with and just said, like in his desperation, just said, what can we do to appease something out there? Like, this isn't even, as far as I'm aware, this isn't even part of their sun god lore or anything. This is just, what can I sacrifice? Not one of my own, certainly. That kid. That one over there. The one that we've already rejected and whose brother we've already deemed cursed. The one that we've already essentially damned in our own minds and hearts. Let's grab that one too. He's worthless to me. He's already been shunned. So now we'll kill him too. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. Who cares at this point? It just seems so out of left field, and you know, maybe that was the point. I do find it super funny that Harold apparently was just chilling there. Like, what? Like, I guess when he was out trying to save his country, when he returned home, he just went straight to his love, and he was at her house, and then this guy shows in, bursts in the door, says, I'm gonna kill your son, you know, just in case it might help. I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And also, you seduce the king. Get out, slut. And Harold, I don't know, maybe he was hiding behind the curtain or something. He's like, hang on, let's not have that. And just beats the guy down. Why do you turn on one another, my brethren? Great question. I think that is a question that Oda is asking. So he went to the countries that he had ties with, and he told them about the terrible situation that they were in, the great need that they had, and they banded together and they helped the giants. Eventually the giants should be helping them as well. That's the idea here. And it's what he says too, when they in turn need our help, let us give freely. You know, it's a beautiful picture of what the world ideally would be. This idea of, yes, we give you help and aid when you need it, and then when we're in trouble, you do as well. You know, we're just trying to keep each other alive. We're just trying to help each other. This is what he forged. This is what he and Ida, that's her name. This is what he and Ida forged when they were together, and they were working so hard to build these agreements. You know, Harold at first was a menace, but then Ida changed his heart and showed him what he could be forging as king. And then this is the fruit of that. This is his hard work when he was staying up late at night, even after Ida had fallen asleep, working on these agreements. Now he's saving his kingdom with it. Shortly before Harold's return, Queen Estrid passed away. Yes! And to her dying breath, she spitefully blamed the kingdom's ills on the curse of Loki, her own son. Woman, could you stop? Just die without choking out another curse on your son. Oh! Which this should be mentioned too. I understand superstition in a time of desperation, blah, 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 blah. But like, they chose to agree with her, you know? Like, this is the ramblings of a mad woman talking about her child being cursed, and poke out his eyes and try to kill him, please, would ya? They made the choice to agree. They made the choice to say, you know what? Yeah, he is cursed. I believe you. Turning on their own. She turns on her own. Elbaf is turning on their own. It's chaos. Look at how sad this is. Harold has returned home and lovingly embraces not really embraces, but lifts his son and looks at him, and he's like, Loki, my son. And the child has no expression. This child that has been seeking love when he was first born, arms reaching out, bursting through the door to find his mom, seeking love, is now been rejected so many times that when he finally sees love offered to him, no response. That's what you did, Estrid. You broke Loki. It's on you. Can you smile? I suppose not after losing your mother. No! His mother did that to him. At just a few months old, Loki abandoned any hope for love. Oh, it makes me so sad. I can understand that Loki desperately needed a wife. He needed Loki's mother to actually be a mother, because in order for him to run the country and to handle all these agreements and to make sure that the food is distributed in a way, I'm sure the way that the country has gone into complete chaos. You know, you can't just be like, okay, food, great, here you go, guys. Like, no, they're gonna start killing each other for first grab of the food. Some of them will start hoarding it instead of making sure that everybody has enough. Like, there's a lot of organizing and planning to make sure that a starving nation gets fed equally. So there's a lot here. He can't really play the single dad role right now in order to, and also save his country. So sympathy there, but maybe he could have made sure that whoever made the decision on who Loki went to was someone that actually cared. Because Estrid's brother, so badly, Loki just needs someone to love him. Seems like Harold could have loved him if the situation would have, if he could have been there. I wish he could have been there. Or, again, I wish he could have said, okay, I gave you the son you asked for. I gave you an heir to the throne. I'm taking back my first wife. I'm raising my boys together. I think that she would... Ida? I can't remember her name again. Yeah, Ida. I think Ida would have raised them both. If she said no, fine. We'll figure it out. We'll find someone else. But I think she would have said yes. I'm just very emotional about this. It's hard for me. Kids are a tough one. Okay. Anyway. He went to his uncle. Horrid thing, his uncle calls him. Harold somehow slipped into the reverie as a soldier. The guy bigger than everyone somehow slipped in. I believe you. I'm not questioning anything. A murder happened. These referees are really dangerous, apparently, for its guests. We have some big lore stuff here that is real rough for me to unpack with my memory, but we spoke about it some on the live stream as I was with my patrons, as I was doing that. We talked about Water 7, Punk Hazard, all of those connections. I watched Grand Line Review's video where he went into all of the lore as well. That was crazy. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because I know that there's a lot of theorizing happening. We discussed it quite a bit, so I know that there's a lot of videos out about this as well, and like, this is not my strength as a reviewer, and I'm really just more interested in spending my time talking about the character and thematic stuff, because that's well, it's what I'm better at, I think, and also probably what's, I assume, getting a little bit less attention, so that's like where my focus is, but certainly promises of what's going to be built on in the world and in further reveals to come. As we're watching Loki grow, and we're seeing some of the abuse that he goes through, let's see what rotten scraps shall I feed you today? Like, really just excited to cause him pain. I'm planning on giving you nothing except for intentionally disgusting food that will be miserable for you. And then he like brags about it. What should I give you today that will be putrid? And then he gets a little bit older and we see him being blamed for things. We already knew about the horse thing from the beginning of the arc. And then, oh no, the regent is dead down in the underworld. Oh no. And as we go through this, we see Loki's expression go from the frown that we saw on him from the point that Harold first came home to a more, what I read as a more just like numb expression, to the smirk implying that, you know, he might have been the one to kill his uncle. Frankly, there's no evidence. They can't pin it on him. I'm just saying, you know, it needed to happen. So however it happened, I don't know, but So we get this kind of continuing to flash of Harold being a great king, truly a great king. Like, he wants to bring unity to Elbaf and to the other nations. He wants to bring peace, and, you know, he really is trying his best for his nation. But every time that he's gone, Loki, his son, is terrorizing everything. Look out, King Harold has gone on another of his trips, and you know what that means. Bolt your doors, bring the children indoors. And then it shows Loki with his beast coming out. Why does he seek to cause harm? Why is he using his power to hurt the people? Maybe because they rejected him from the day of his birth. It is interesting too, because even as, you know, we see Harold doing all this great stuff for his country, and they're all singing the praises of King Harold, they love him so much, then they turn on his son and say, Why do you look so pleased, Haruden? You're not the king's real son. Loki is our only prince. The one that they hate? The one that they call cursed? Okay. You're just a bastard. Both of Harold's sons, they love Harold. Both of Harold's sons, they utterly reject and mistreat. Sweet Haruden is over here saying, don't mess up the village. Dad worked so hard to rebuild. And then Loki rejects him as well. He's not your dad. He looks down on the humans just like Harold used to do. They're little bugs. It's stupid of him to even care about them. Haruden, sweet boy, is reflecting the ideals of his mother. You have to see everyone at the same eye level. Don't think you're special just because you're big. That's exactly what she said to him. But Loki beats him down. I'm special because I'm the prince. I do get these special privileges. Now, again, Kid has been beaten down plenty himself. He's reflecting the behavior that he's always been shown. Gerd proves herself to be absolutely incredible. What's-his-face is over here, Gold something, is over here saying, let's pretend that we don't know him because I don't want to get hit. And Gerd's like, he's our friend! Grow a spine, maybe. That'd be good. She's checking in on him, and Loki is looking back at that, really frustrated. And he's seeing that when he acts out in violence and when he's rejecting people and, doing the same thing that's always been done to him, Haruden, even though he is culturally stigmatized and looked down on, at least Loki has the blood that he should have, culturally that they believe that he should have. At least he has the lineage. He's cursed, gross, but at least he has that, where Haruden doesn't have anything. And even though he's lower status than Loki in Loki's mind, and culturally, even though he's lower status than Loki, he still has people looking out for him. When he's hurt, someone rushes to his aid and gives him kindness. What is that? That's so foreign to Loki, and so to watch that happen to his brother who's lesser than him, that's gotta just be more salt in the wound. The son of a mother with tainted blood, he says to his brother. And he does have, admittedly, Haruden does have people defending him. Your Highness, that's enough. He's the king's son as well. And Loki isn't interested in hearing that. So again, it's interesting because there is some respect offered to Haruden, but really, you're still not, you can't be on the throne. But truly, I think that he has to be, at the end of this arc, it has to be Haruden that occupies the throne, that leads the country, because Elbaf needs to change. Elbaf needs to strip these traditions, these ideas, this selective peace that they have going for themselves, and they need to embrace true peace. And Haruden being the one on the throne, I think symbolically is exactly what this nation needs in order to move forward into a new era. Unbelievable sadness. From here, we watch Loki throw himself off the tree, just like his mother did to him, crying at the bottom, I can't even die. No love, no acceptance, no family, no friends, nothing. He's got nothing. A child this young trying to take his own life because everyone in his life has utterly failed him. So then, final spread. Oh my goodness. Such an intense chapter, and this is what we end on. Boy, so Rox is here. He's not even officially captain. He's not even the captain of the Rox Pirates yet. They're just a bunch of powerful rookies together, I guess. They show up on Elbaf, want to know where they are. I think it's notable that Whitebeard here, his dialogue is checking in on the kid. Is he crying? He seems to be showing some sort of concern. Always the father. Anyway, Rox says, all right, brat. You're gonna say yes twice because that's the answer I want. Because that's the answer I want for these questions. Now, again, my patrons explained to me that there's a lot of theories going around about his fingers looking like Law, or it could be even Buggy. His fruit awakened is being used here with the split mountain. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he just held up his fingers because he said I have two things I want to talk about. Don't get me wrong. It would be really cool if it's one of these theories. But it looks to me that he's just saying, I have two things. And the sliced mountain, it might just be his swordsman slicing through a mountain. We've seen it before. They're an incredibly powerful crew. It could just be Oda showing how powerful they are. I could be totally wrong. This is not my forte. Question 1, is this Elbaf? Yes. Question 2, is Harold here? Oh no, especially because the information we get about him. This man whom Harold met at the Reverie 8 years earlier killed a Navy headquarters admiral and fled. This man showed up at a Reverie and then just killed an admiral and left. Oh, what a great introduction to his character. I mean, like, obviously we've heard the Legends of Rocks, but what a great way to put him on page and be like, you know, he's a rookie. He's not even made a name for himself, but this is what he does. And now he's hunting down the king of Elbaf. For why? Already has a bounty on his head. Oh, you love to see it. But of course, the most important thing that we need to talk about is that he's Blackbeard's dad, and he looks exactly like Blackbeard. Exactly like him with different hair. Look at him. It's such a great, I mean, I personally love it. I'm personally really hyped about this. I can't wait to see, I think this is a great introduction for him. We get to see him right here with Loki. What are you saying? Why are you introducing him here and now? Because Loki looked up towards Rocks as his inspiration, as his hero, as the one that he wanted to be like, because he modeled himself after him, because Rocks' story is also going to tie into all of this. I don't know yet, but this was a great introduction for him. This was a great way of just showing, one, he's so powerful even as a rookie, but two, he looks exactly like Blackbeard, and I don't know, it's a great introduction. I don't know, for the first final reveal of him, I personally love it. I think he arrives onto the scene with so much power. He arrives onto the scene already having accomplished so much without even forming the Rocks crew yet, and the powerhouses he has standing behind him, and the influence he is certainly going to be on Loki. I'm so excited. I thought this chapter was great. I think that I'm really excited to see what comes next. I can't wait to see where Oda continues to take this arc. I think that there's a lot happening here that at least is really interesting to me. Please do chat with me more in the comments. Feel free to pick apart anything that I said or add to the stuff that I kind of just touched on but didn't go very deep with. I'll see you again soon. Bye.